So I've done a lot of consultations with different types of Web3 projects, spoken to a lot of different founders, and I noticed a pattern. There is a what I now want to coin as the Web3 founders dilemma. There's a common problem that they're facing. And what that problem is that a lot of projects, the ones that, in my opinion, have a chance to succeed, they are not just relying on, what I've talked about before, sort of perceived value or hype. There's an actual product that solves some type of problem as well. And what this typically leads to is you have this scenario, you have this situation where you've got a product or a service that is solving some kind of problem. And then you have, community and possibly a token, fungible or not, might be some sort of an NFT collection or an actual, fungible token. And so the dilemma that these Web3 founders are facing is basically, do we focus on the growth of the product and getting users for the product and finding product market fit first, or do we launch a token, our token, NFT project, and sort of build our community? And I just kind of wanted to provide some thoughts here. I don't think there's going to be one size fits all type of an answer to this, but what I have found is that if you really think about it, right, there's a challenge with developing a Web3 project in the sense that it often requires development time. And for a lot of projects, this is like a minimum 1 year. And I've seen projects work, 3 to 4 years on product before it's ready to launch, right? So what you have then is this scenario of, do we wait? Do we spend 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years developing the product before we launch anything? Or do we get started? Do we launch our token in advance? Do we build our community and figure that out first? And then we can launch to our community, or again, vice versa. So again, I'm going to provide some thoughts here for you. Hopefully it's helpful. So if you were to start off focusing on product only and finding users for the product, I would say that the benefit of that is that you're going directly to the customer, right? You're not building a community and then hoping that there are users in the community. You're going directly to the people. So in your marketing efforts, in your research, when you're talking to people, those are the actual users of the product. And so it's going to be faster in a sense to find the product market fit. And maybe you have discoveries that are going to help you iterate and make a better product. So that's good, right? The downside is, you might have to wait, right? You might have to develop the thing for years before you can launch it. And so the issue with that is you might miss out on, sort of bull run mania. Again, I've watched projects who worked so long on the project that they actually missed out on 2 bull runs, where if they had a token that people would have been trading on, then you would have seen a lot more people talking about the project, because as we've talked about before in other videos, when you have, let's say, a token, again, fungible or not, the incentives are aligned, right? So all of the owners, you have a lot more owners. And so all of those people are basically evangelists. They're out there sort of spreading the good word of your project. And so if you have that bull run mania and you miss out on that, it's like a lot of attention that you really missed out on. And then if you launch into to a bear market, you're just not going to see that same level of activity. So that's a big con for the idea of launching, let's say, to users first. That's bad. And then the other component that I mentioned in there is users. Oftentimes, if you don't take the token into consideration, maybe you have a product that actually requires the use of a token to use it, but that is not always the case. I spoke to a project just last week who they are very much having this debate as well. And for their project, it's not necessarily needed that you have. It's not necessarily the case that you will use their token in order to use the product. And so what you get there is you're missing out on the group of people that are actually incentivized to go out there and spread the word if you're focused on getting users first. And then what can happen, which again, I have seen with my own eyes, is you have this project that's worked on for years, and then, because the product was ready when it was, they end up launching into a bear market with almost nobody paying attention, and that's just not good, So what's the other alternative? The other alternative is to, wow, I really struggle with that word twice in a row. The other alternative is to focus on, launching the token earlier, building up your community. And so by the time you launch, you actually have a little bit of momentum, or possibly even a lot of momentum. So the pro here is really, which I touched on before as a con, is that if you do that, when you focus on the token and the community, you have aligned incentives. You have a large group of people who are incentivized to go out there and spread the word because they all want the project to do well, because they're all part owners of the project. The other thing is, depending on the product or the project, it is typically going to be a lot cheaper to go out there and acquire the attention from, let's say, a retail investor audience than it is for your, users, for the users of your product. This is going to depend on the project. It's not always going to be the case, but I mean, if we're talking B2B, this is absolutely going to be much more expensive to go get users than token investors or retail investors. So what you'll find is it's going to be a lot cheaper to go out there and start acquiring attention, start building up your audience or your community. And then when you do launch, you're launching to, momentum. You already have a group of people who are aware of what you do. They're excited. They've been waiting for this for a long time. So you do get sort of that inherent kind of buzz or hype because of the fact that some of these people have paid attention for weeks or months or even years, and now this thing is ready. And so that's great, right? I would say on the challenges side, maybe there's legal stuff. I think that is all fixable, but you just want to be aware of that, I guess. And I guess another con could be that you might have to give away too much tokens. If it's super early, you might have to give up a large percent of tokens. But the more I think about this, the more I really believe that for most projects, it's going to be an easier path to victory or an easier path to success by focusing on token launch and community first, because again, you got aligned incentives, you got a much cheaper audience as far as purchasing the attention to get to those people. And then again, once that sort of kicks in and they start going out there and spreading the word on your behalf, then off you go. And then when you launch, you already got the momentum, as opposed to just launching into a bear market with nobody paying attention, right? Nobody wants that. So yeah, I've seen this a lot. So I wanted to make a video about this. And my Web3 marketing book I just finished the first draft today. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to put a link in the comments where you can go to the Telegram group where I will be announcing the release of that. But there we go. That's it for the Web3 Founders Dilemma. I'll see you shortly. Have a good one. Ciao.